Now, this is an interesting claim to say this is definitely what Jesus looked like, considering that the Christ Pantocrator icon only exists, as far as we know. The oldest copy in existence is from the 6th or 7th century. So this is the icon they're talking about. It was first painted in the St. Catherine's Monastery in Sinai. That was built in 58 something. So it can't be any older than that if it was painted at the same time it was built. There are older icons of Jesus though. So we go back to the 4th century. We've got this one, which is a depiction of the woman being healed by touching the edge of Jesus's robe or tunic or whatever. And in this depiction again, the older you get back in time, the more Roman, like typically Roman looking Jesus is in these pictures, which is like the clean shaven, younger face, shorter hair, not the traditional images we've come to associate with Jesus, which is older and bearded, which in sort of iconography, the beard and the age symbolizes more of a teacher. That's that sort of feeling that comes across in that sort of imagery, whereas the older ones are more interesting in that Jesus is just looking like a typical person of the day, if you like, or depicted as such by the people who drew these in this one in the 4th century, and the next few will be in the 3rd century, which go mid early 200s. So let's see how they look. Now this one is really interesting. It depicts Jesus raising Lazarus from the dead, and it comes from the early to mid 200s as well. And the interesting thing is, I mean, you've still got that same Roman look, but Jesus has a wand. He's holding a wand. And in a lot of early Christian art from this period, the depiction of Jesus doing his miracles generally has a wand in his hand. That is really bizarre. I mean, experts in iconography and things will say that, you know, as Roman people came to faith and they drew these pictures, they associated the miraculous stories with magic, and so in their depictions of these events, they drew Jesus with a wand to sort of depict that sort of miraculous, magical act that was going on in the story. So you have this image from around 250 AD from the Catacombs of Calixtus, which shows Jesus as the Good Shepherd. So in a place in Syria called the Dura Europos, it's like a abandoned, almost like a time capsule for archaeologists. The world's oldest surviving church is there from the 200s and something, and inside it you've got this picture, which depicts the story in the Synoptic Gospels of the paralytic getting lowered through the roof and Jesus healing them. And again, you've got the young, short-haired Jesus here doing the miracle, and this is from around 235 AD, so it's pretty old. So the point of all this is that it's hard to just say that, you know, this is the way Jesus looked, and maybe the Christ Pantocrator is how Jesus looked when he was a bit later in life, but it's a 6th century icon, so it's kind of quite far removed. And the earliest depiction being the Dura Europos one in 235 shows him short-haired, Romanish looking. Not say there was a Roman, but that sort of style, his clothing and everything. The depictions have changed over time, and the depictions often change depending on what message the icon is trying to get across, of like whether Jesus is, like in the one where he's holding the lamb over his shoulders, he's the Good Shepherd, or the ones where he's like traditional iconography art where he has his fingers in the, how's it done? I can't do it, but the shape that makes the Greek letters for his name, or he's holding a book to present the Gospels, or different hand gestures which mean whether he was a teacher or things like that. So, you know, artwork, it's hard to say that they are definitely how someone looked, because they are not portraits as such. They are religious art, they are icons, and they depict certain things for certain reasons, for a theological reason, more than a literal representation. So anyway, I hope that was interesting, and whether the person I'm replying to likes this information, I don't know. But anyway, hopefully everyone else found this interesting, a little bit of history and some early artwork.